And we have this LinkedIn live session every week, and we try to bring on guests here that are, the most beneficial for you guys, since majority of our audiences are, young graduates, and they're wondering about what to do next about their career, really. So this time around, I'm really, really excited because we have a guest from all the way from San Francisco, and this whole LinkedIn live session was in the works for, a few weeks at this point, and we're so happy we got to collaborate on this one time, and on this topic that I think both of us are very passionate about. So, again, as the LinkedIn Live session states, it's basically, from being an entrepreneur to ending up in Silicon Valley, which is a big word for a lot of us here. So, Hafsa, first, please introduce yourself, what you do, and really, how's that journey been, this big journey of ending up there at Silicon Valley, really.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. Super excited to speak with you all. I'm Hafsa, and I am originally from Pakistan. I have lived a chunk of my life there, and there too, I've always been into fitness and tech. And I've for my graduate and masters, I have been doing computer science, and on the side, always been obsessed with fitness. So I knew that I was going to build something along those lines, and that's how I dreamt of Silicon Valley, and that's how I ended up here. And now I'm building FitX. It's like an AI personal training app that gives you feedback on your form. It also tracks reps, and yeah, super excited about where we are going right now and having a lot of people use it. So sorry to interrupt. I can hear my voice, so I don't know if everyone can hear us okay.
Uh, Sorry.
I can hear my voice too, so I'm not sure if everyone can hear us okay.
I think we're good. So we have a couple of comments here. Okay, so one of them says it's an echo. We'll try to go for 5 minutes more, and if the problem
Okay.
persists, we can start again. It's not an issue.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Summary is excited to be here. Love to. Oh, yeah. It says bad movies, movies. Okay.
All
I'm
right.
not
So
sure.
there is. All right. We do have noise. All right. Echo from Hafsa's side. All right. That's totally fine. Technical issues. It's really just very
Yeah.
normal during lives. Um, Let me just mute myself for a minute as you speak, and then we'll see if the the whole issue persists or not.
Okay. Yeah.
Continue.
Okay. Yep. So cool. Yeah. In summary is that right now I am building the fitness app, and I have background in computer science and also been in fitness industry for my whole life as well. And I have recently gotten into VC and investing side of things as well. So I'm super excited to be here, and I would love to answer whatever question that you have, all have, and if I can help in any way. Cool.
All right, perfect. And thank you for suggestion, guys. This problem got fixed as well. All right. Again, FitX really intrigues me. So in general, being a woman in tech in a very male dominated industry, and so really women in STEM also is really big thing. And a lot of us talk about it. A lot of us, talk about making into this industry because it's obviously really hard, and very a big chunk of it is operated by men. So really, FitX, how you did you come up with this idea? What was the passion behind it, and how really you put in the work and made it one reality for yourself?
Yeah. I think you mentioned a couple of things. To start with, I know that STEM and in general tech, it's very male dominant. Even when I was in Pakistan doing my bachelor's, we were three girls in our whole session, and when I came in for master's too, we were two. And as a founder, the VC firm that I work out from, we are two female founders. But the way I look at it, and is that I know even when the number is low, I tell myself that there are really certain very small amount of percentage who get funding or who get female-led successful startups that I'm going to be one of those. So I feel like it's really your mindset also that really helps. That even if the numbers are in the on the odd side of your, but you just gotta do it, what you have to do. And what I do on my side too, I'm very involved in the women in tech groups as well as in building community. So what I can do to help other women, I think that's what we all can do to whatever extent we can do to help other people. So whatever you are not able to get it, you can help other people to achieve that.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. And, you know, it's very inspiring to be able to be one of those individuals that take the leadership role. And especially for, being in the minority in the tech industry, it's wonderful having women, really lead the path for you. And it only makes easier for, individual like me or, younger women that are, aspiring to be somewhere you are. Also, let's talk about how did it feel at first. So, you came up with the idea of FitX. You guys were like two co-founders, and a lot of things that went into it. But was it intimidating for you to enter this whole industry? And you knew, so there are men out there, and they're doing perfect. They're doing more than what most of us could imagine. So, was there a point where you were like, okay, I'm gonna have to deal with this?
Um, yeah, I would say that it is definitely intimidating, but I would also just whatever about what you mentioned. I know that there are men out there and doing perfect. I believe that women are also doing perfect. It's just that most of the times they don't get the recognition that they deserve. So and then they are not able to be up on the ladder as easily sometimes that men are able to do it. So definitely it's intimidating, but I think that's the part that I really love and enjoy, that there are challenges every day. So every day you wake up and then you have to be out of your comfort zone and do something that you have not done before. And for me, it's very exciting. And I feel like that's how you really see the results also when you get out of your comfort zone. Because if you are just doing what that's not intimidating and in your comfort zone, then there are not a lot of chances that you're going to grow, right? So I feel like it's just up to you that how you take it, take it as how that it should excite you, and then I feel like then adds you to your growth as well.
Yeah, perfect. Again, if I would have to add something to it, I would also say like until unless you really just put yourself out there, and if you're somebody that's aspiring to get somewhere, aspiring to start up your own thing, whether it's anything, it could not be just like tech related. You really have to put yourself out there. You really have to face the things, face the ugliness that's out there, face the challenges basically, and just make yourself stronger, and also just really work on your goal. Talking about startups, you are in San Francisco, and the Silicon Valley and all these big words. It's basically a startup ecosystem out there, and somebody that is very well versed in it, and you have a lot of exposure in it. Can you please explain what is it like there? And so being in that whole ecosystem, how do you stay resilient to achieve your goals, or something that you are working on and you wanted to make it out there? How do you do that?
Yeah, great question. And let me tell you, I feel like the hype is real about Silicon Valley, because living it here, it's every other person is probably building a company, and people are just so passionate about it. And there's so many co-working spaces in another, like in one or two block, that you can just go there and network with people, and people all around the world, the smartest people all around the world who are building their companies, or even aspiring founders. So I think that aspect really is really helps and aid in your journey. Like for example, in San Francisco, in a month there are around 100 events related to AI that happen. And I definitely believe that networking and meeting all those people, even if even if we meet for AI that is kind of trying to replace what humans do, but you cannot just eliminate the fact that the value that you get out of networking with people, and just finding out what other people are building, and brainstorming ideas with them. So yeah, I think in summary, definitely the hype is real. And and on the way, the learning is so much too, that you'll have hackathons, and you just have so much resources and content. And rather, it's just that you're trying to get mentorship from someone, or investment side, you'll go to an event and you will see the investors that you're looking for there too. So I think that, yeah, that all that really helps in your journey.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, so this whole landscape or ecosystem is very fast paced, right? So, like in a month, you have like a lot of startups and a lot of companies, and they'll secure investments and whatnot. So, as someone that is just starting out, and I saw this question here, they're just starting out and they want to make it out there. How do they cope up with this fast paced environment? Really, just and even I would say it goes with Pakistan as well. Not basically there's no Silicon Valley here, but the point is IT itself is a very fast paced industry, right? And to be able to cope up with this landscape, you need to know something. You need to make it out there, and everybody's really just in this hustle of getting there. So what are few things that help you to make FitX and reach to that point and really just thrive in this industry?
Yeah, so for sure, I agree that how fast paced it is in general, that how the tech is changing, and then you will one day you'll look up and see that someone has built this company that you have been thinking about building. So definitely the key is speed, especially if you're starting out for your startup, then speed is the key. You gotta deliver, you gotta launch. So I know that sometimes people tend to, oh, I want to make the product perfect and then launch to the market. But I would say the key is whatever you're building, you can launch it in iterations and see how your users are getting you feedback, and then based on that, then you can make changes as well, rather than just waiting and developing it for years and then deploying it to market and see that nobody's using it, or there are just so many other technology, or there's so many other alternatives have were there in between, and then when you deploy it, and then you don't have any users. So I would say that if it is fast paced, so to deal with it, you also are supposed to be very fast paced, and speed is definitely the key. And I would say that for me, how I keep myself informed, like I said, that I think going to once and networking is very beneficial and key. That you go meet people, and you stay informed on what they are building and what they are doing, and also keep on reading their even like you said, that even if someone in Pakistan is trying to do it, they have access to resources anywhere in the world. So I would say that reading is a key aspect to just keep yourself updated on it. And like I'm also an engineer. I definitely feel that in terms of the coding side as well, there's just so many new languages that are coming, so I try to just keep myself updated or do a side project here and there to keep myself updated. I think that's a way to go.
Yeah. And also like so I've had like a couple of live sessions and with a lot of like our higher ups, and so most of them are software engineers, and one thing that we have always discussed, and the same thing you pointed out, is to always learn basically. To be able to thrive into this industry, really you have to get onto it. Like it does not matter how much you are well versed in this one language, or this one area that you feel like you're the expert in. Like you've got to get your hands on to something that is in the trend. That's the only way you'll survive. So let's talk about disappointments. Let's talk about failures. So again, we're picturing a woman that is entering into this landscape that is heavily dominated by men. And you see yourself in Silicon Valley with a lot of these men that have these ideas, and they have had a great time getting there. What happens when you face rejection? It's rejection is not a good easy thing to deal with, right? And so when you are really passionate about a project or anything that you have been working on for so long, so and I'm pretty sure in your journey of getting to Silicon Valley, you might have had a couple of instances where you kind of had to deal with disappointments. How do you deal with that, and especially as a woman?
Yeah, I think that's a I think that's a great question, because I think it will be a lie if I say that for my journey it has only been ups. So there definitely been ups and downs, but I feel like failures are the best thing that can happen to you, because that really shape you. And that is I would say the key to successes as well, especially for the startup system, because in startup, when you're running your startup, the lows will be very lows, because that's your baby, that's your product that you're working on, and you're super super attached to it, and it's really hard, I would say. But the key is how you get yourself up. And then I have had moments that I would come back home, and then I'll be crying, depressed, but I'll wake up the next day at 7 a.m. and then I go back to work. I think that's the key. That you can't just give up, and rejections are part of the journey, and just take it as okay. Now, what can I learn from it? So really think about whatever happened. Like, if you what's the reason of the rejection, and how can you improve, right? And then just move on. Plan. Just like we were talking before, the speed and hustle part of it. You can't just cry over a rejection for a week, because then you'll miss out on a lot of work in a week. So yeah, I think here, if you tell someone that you have a failed startup, they really appreciate that, because usually, most of the time, your first startup fails. So, but if you have a failed startup, it means that you learned so much during that process. It's actually a good thing.
Yeah, and again, what I'm getting from is like put in the work. Like it does not
Yeah.
matter like if it gets there or not. Like as long as you're putting yourself out there, as long as you are like making that effort, that is what really counts. And like, again, you're gonna try once, fail, try twice, fail, but maybe at some point you're gonna reach where you want to. Another question. So since Silicon Valley itself is a very very high stakes environment, right? So there's a lot of competition, and so when you are again passionately working on a product or any project that you're working on, how do you differentiate your project or product from something that is in your competition? Like how do you make sure that what you're bringing to the market or you're bringing to this community is different and it's going to probably secure investors or have a target audience that's going to want to use it, so for example FedEx, how did you make sure that it would stand out?
Yeah, I think there are two parts of the question. So first, in general, every product has to stand out, right? Rather, if it's in Silicon Valley or in Lahore, right? You gotta have a moat, and to make it stand out, to have people use it. And the second part of it, that for example, as a women, immigrant, brown person, I think you will have to stand out as a person. I would say that you have to work extra hard. And that's when, even when it's fast paced, then for someone who is trying to build build a life there, then as person who's from not from here, then you have to put in extra work. And so I would say, and I think the positive side of it is that you learn so much. And I would say that the time that I have been invested in working on startup, I wouldn't have been the learn that much if I was working corporate job, or if I didn't move here. So the learning is multiplied, because you have to catch up for the people who have been aware of the startup ecosystem from the very start. So yeah, the extra work that you put in. And then going back to your question from the product, I would say choose really stand out. It definitely, because I feel like it's very generic, because it depends on the industry. Sometimes, even if you are building something that already exists, but it depends that how are you executing it, how are you marketing it. There are just so many different ways that you can make it stand out, by how you're presenting and selling it, right? And if you have a moat, then that's perfect, that it's not out there, and this is what the thing you have built. And at the same time, you have to make sure that there's a need out there, not just you have built something along the around tech, and not, and you think that okay, you'll have users. I think that's a misunderstanding. Even if you have built something that no one has and you stand out, but you have got to have the product market fit and the need out there for people to use it.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because, like, even last week when we were talking about, our LinkedIn Live, and we talked about this fact that, a lot of people don't market it well, whatever, so whatever their product is, if they don't do it. So, I'm a marketing executive, so I know that. But as somebody that owns a product, I would want you to get a little deep into it. How much does it make a difference when you don't do it right and when you do it right? Like, even if it's from your experience or something you've observed, and especially being at a very competitive environment, how is it important for you to really market your product and the difference it makes?
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, I can't emphasize enough on it that how important it, even if you have a great product, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be successful. That if it's I have built a product, it's my app, then how are people will know about it and how they're gonna use it, and so yeah, it's really important that how you're selling your product, and I feel like because advising a couple of startups here too, an investing side. I talked to a lot of startups, and you would be surprised that even in people, a lot of people here, because they're super smart people and super technical, and they would build something, and then they will come to think, oh, I have built this really cool tech, and this is what I'm trying to do, but do you have any users, or how are you going to sell it? Like, how you it's good to like come up with ideas that I'm going to build this cool tech, but did you talk to users? Where's the need? So I think it's really important to emphasize on marketing and how you're going to sell it, and talk to your users and figure that out and plan that out ahead of time before building it. And I feel like it's all connected to what we discussed earlier, that then ship fast too. So because that's when you'll be shipping your product, you'll be getting that feedback. Is anyone really using it, or what's other strategies I can use to market it better to have more users?
Yeah, definitely. Again, marketing is something that really, really, makes it break or make it or break it for you. So again, if you are someone out there that is, an aspiring entrepreneur, or you have something, a project you're working on, really, really make sure when the time is right, just market it really well. Have people help you out. Apart from marketing, since you consult a lot of startups and a lot of that, you give them advice and stuff. So, what is the one pattern or mistake that you've seen occur like commonly among startups? Like, what is that one step that they don't do it right, and you would want us, our audience, to know? Like, if you are starting something, just make sure that you don't do that.
I think really the most common one is uh, not like I said, that like building just having an idea is not enough. Like um, you cannot build a successful business just so you have a cool idea. So I think even if you're super technical and super smart, but uh, having that visibility on the business side of things is really important. That okay, if I would have people, like I said, like I would have people who come, and then they have been building their tech for 2 years, and I said, have you have your users use it, or have you talked with your users? And then after 2 years, then they really struggle to find the product market fit, and I think 2 years is a long time. And I feel like just a tip also, like right now it's so easy that you can just use APIs, and you can just use whatever is out there, build your product and launch it. And then once you're ready, then you can build your tech in-house. So I would say that too much emphasis on building the tech. I think it should be more around building experience around it. So I would say that that's one thing that was super common from the people that who have already built something, but yeah, no story around the product.
Yeah, and even if, like, so the product, and just like making your audience aware of the mission or the vision that's behind it, and associating a story with it, it's really important. And this is what we do in marketing. We kind of like personify the product, the brand itself, and you really just give it a personality. So like, this is what you need to solve this problem of yours. So I really, really think that this was really, really one good point that you raised, what startup really lack in. So while you were talking, I was thinking about, so in Silicon Valley, so you talked about being a Pakistani, and so we are brown people, and just entering in that landscape itself is very difficult. So for people in Pakistan, how can they leverage from this? So they don't really have that discrimination here, right? And especially, so women do have that discrimination because this is a male-dominated landscape. But given that this is an ecosystem where it's basically just Pakistanis here, how can they leverage from this and make sure that they really, really nurture their startup or their product and really boost it up? So yeah, just get into that.
Sure. So people who are building in Pakistan, right? Um, okay, what? So I'm super connected to people in Pakistan too, like mostly from the startup ecosystem. I think one thing that is really important is just to get out of the bubble. Like even if you are in Pakistan, I was in the bubble too when I was in Pakistan. I think it's really important to get out of the bubble and have perspective and just search search about search about what's going on around, and then just talk to people. And right now it's just so easy. You can even you're sitting in Pakistan, you can talk someone and anyone anywhere in the world. So I think that having perspective is really important, because I see that how things change for me. I was building a startup in Pakistan also, and I know that how differently I was thinking through things, and how drastically different it's here. So when I started out, so I think that really helps, and I think it can help other people too. That so when I moved here, I started consulting as a technical project manager, and I used to go up to the founders who have already built it, and I would go to my CEO room and I would ask him questions. Right, so you just have to be curious, and then someone who has already built it, then go ask questions. Usually people are really open to help and mentor you, and just widen your perspective, because even if you're building and running something in Pakistan, some other company who has wider perspective than you and they know better, who are operating outside of Pakistan, they can come and then have their operation started in Pakistan, right? If they have the better tech, and if they have the better experience around their products. So yeah, I would say that just getting out of the bubble is really important.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, do networking, get to know a lot of people, and that's something that is very, very important. So I would want to know. So we talked about, for technical skills, just get onto the trends and learn what's out there. So two parts of the question. So generally, just tell me, like, when you are in networking, sorry, what are the soft skills that you need? What are the communication skills that you would suggest our viewers to practice when they are out there networking? So these people that are in front of you maybe have owned a product or a business for way longer than you have. So what are the things that you should really just grasp from this conversation? And then for women especially, so maybe in San Francisco, they're probably more open about women being in this industry, but for Pakistan, there is the stigma thrives, right? And so there's really no lie that it gets harder for us. So what are the things that you practiced in terms of your communication, your soft skills, and your networking that you would suggest other women to have, and also like people in general?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. I think I'll share a couple of things that I have started doing it, and I think I don't know if it applies to everyone, but that's what I like to do. So I started hosting my own events, because I really like to have perspective. I don't want to just go up and say, okay, this is what you can do for me. Do this for me. I really like to come along those lines that, okay, this is how I can help you. Let's help each other. So that's why being really involved in startup ecosystem, I just uh, build relations with them in a, and I try to help that any way that I can to people. And then, okay, in return, obviously, if we need support as well, then you help each other. So I would say that building relationship, don't just warm up towards it. Don't just, I would say, go up a person and say that, okay, I'm building startup, or you just do this for me. I would say that just like talk to people and get to know them, and eventually when it's time, then um, have a couple of conversations, and then when you and then eventually just have your ask too, because I feel like you people in general, they want to help you, and then they're more likely to help you if they like you. And it's just important not to just sound desperate right away, and even if you are, because it's important to just like build, because we're humans, right? We we crave that connections and relationships, so might as well build that. And then it went and see that how can you help them also, like if there's any way you can help them, do that, right? And then just build that relationship, and then see what you how you can support each other. And just in general, I would say having the right mindset as well. I know that we talk a lot about that it's harder for women, the numbers are low, but I would say then take it as a challenge that, oh, I'm still going to do it. I know it's harder, I'm still going to do it. I think that's very important, and you go in with that energy that I'm going to be in the top percentage of the people who have made it, being women. So I would, yeah, I think that's what comes on the top of my head. Just, yeah, go in that energy, build relationship, and you got it.
Yeah, it's all about energy. Like you've got to manifest that. You've got to like
Yeah,
manifest women ruling the tech world. So yeah,
totally.
definitely.
Yeah.
The one question that comes to my mind after that. So then how do women in tech help other women in tech to come forward? How do you help them to really just walk on the path that you really just trailed? So how would you suggest that? To make it more dominated, to make it more populated with women. So how do you do that?
Yeah, so like I said, that I'm really involved. I'm a part of a Women Founders Bay group here. So we host a lot of events, and then we now we have a hackathon coming, and we have all female judges there. So, and then even if I have to make any intros to investors, I prefer it first women, because I know it's harder for them. And but at the same time, I try not to left out any men, because I feel like if if in general this is the rule that they're doing it to us, when I have the power, I don't want to do it the same thing that they're doing to us. So I think it's really important, at least for me, that not do the same thing that they do to us. So I do try to keep them involved as well, but definitely I would help. I'll if I get some pitch decks, I would say I will look at the one that are sent by women first, because I know that there are not a lot of people out there to support them, right? And then just hosting events and just uplift people around you, right? And see how you can how you can help them in any way, and then it just becomes a circle of things, because I have had really good mentors, and I've been very lucky that even in my the current firm that I work from, I have a really great female founder who has been mentoring me and helping me. And I know that how much it has added value for me, and I would then like to do the same thing for others. So I would say, like, to whichever extent you can help and uplift other people, just doing that really adds value to it.
Yeah. Perfect. You put it really perfectly. And again, it's all about uplifting each other. If you really, really believe in, the motive behind, women in tech and women in STEM, you've really got to be open about, having competition really and not taking it as literal competition, but actually appreciating that somebody is out there putting in the same work as you. Um, So we were again last week. It was such a productive conversation, and I wrote down some pointers. So one thing that we talked about, so marketing your services and your product is one thing, and then marketing yourself is another thing, right? So just to give people a context, so we at DevZing, we're really just about employee marketing. Like we're just really making sure that our employees are the spotlight, and so it's just not marketing. We're actually doing that with our internal engagement and everything. And then our CEO is also, so he's the face of the company itself. And he's out there having sessions, and so you kind of like put yourself out there. Your personality is out there in the market, and people can resonate to that and really aspire to be that. So again, being in a landscape which is so competitive, and I'm pretty sure there's so many people that are working on how to market themselves, as a person that probably is not that much exposed or does not have a lot of resources, how can they make sure that they stand out in the crowd and really just market themselves?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. So had like it's really important that having your own brand name too. And I was a little against this idea, but not anymore because I have experienced as well that, for example, if I know you personally and then you just reach out, oh, I'm building this brand or I'm this building this company, there are more chances that I will look at it because I know you. So I think I've realized that this has become a part of building a startup, that having your own brand name as well. And I've really noticed that going through events as well, if I meet someone in person, there's so much more chances that I'll probably use their services too. There's so many people who reached out to me on LinkedIn that, okay, we can help you with this, and I to respond. And I think that's a very common thing. But if I meet someone in person, there are just so much more chances of me looking at their stuff. And same for me, for me too. Like right now, I host events. Now people know me when I post about it, that this is what I'm building FitX. They have a face behind their brand. There are so much more chances that they're gonna uh, use the product. So I would say, like you asked to start with, um, if you can start, you have to start somewhere, right? Maybe start by hosting even an event for just like 20 people that or create content. I feel like right now it's just so easy to create content. I'm still trying to get better at it, but and now it is just so easy to create content, and there are just so many platforms that you can post about it, that this is who I am, this is what I'm building, this is what I'm doing, and just have engagement and audience. And I feel like it has gotten really easier over the years to just now build engagement and your following, and also super important as well, in terms of, when I talked to some investors too, and they said that if, like for example, for if you're raising a round, you have to get intros to, the best way is to get warm interest to investors. But if you don't have any social standing, or you don't connect with people, it's just so tricky, and then it just shows that, okay, are you doing the right job as a founder? So you do have to push yourself out there, and then start small, and then you will be surprised at how fast it just grows.
Yeah, and I really just want to jump into a few more things we talked about. So we talked about tawakkul, we talked about the Muslim community, and also your athletic journey. So before we jump into it, let's just take just jump into this one question. That again, since you are mentoring a lot of startups, and a lot of like people that are aspiring to make it out there in the Silicon Valley, and have their product and just company grow bigger. Um, so what would you suggest our audience that mainly consists of fresh grads who want to like probably secure a good job or really just work on their startup? What is the one advice or something that you would want them to stick by and just make sure they follow it?
um, okay, honestly, I think startups, I think it's not for everyone, and it's okay. So if you're just planning on just doing a job, and you have a skill, and you're gonna get a lot of money out of it, or if whatever your purpose is, I think it's okay, because the startup journey is really hard. uh, but if you're in it, then you're in it. So just really see, pick up signs that if you want to go through that path, and once you're on that path, then the decision is made. So if there are ups and downs or whatever it is, the I think the key is that, you just keep going. I think, I know that it's important that you are smart and hardworking, but I feel like even on top of these skills is the grit, that you have to keep going, and you have to make yourself uncomfortable, and you have to keep going. And because there are going to be a lot of downs, trust me. But it really then depends on how's your perspective, around the things that you can just can't give up, and just keep on trying, keep on trying, keep on iterating ideas, be coachable. So I think if you just apply these couple things, if you want to go the startup route, I think these are the keys that, you can follow, and just learn from other people's mistakes, and just keep going. And it is doable. I have done it. A lot of people have done. I think if we have an audience from Pakistan, like I'm from there, and I'm here now. If I can do it, then you all can do it too.
Yeah, it's just about having the mindset. It's just about, like, again, manifesting it and really just putting in the work for it. So yeah, that's perfect. So we talked about, so again, not just being a woman is, being in a minority in this landscape. You're also a Muslim, right? And so that also, like, kind of like, so minimizes you two into this one place. So you're a brown Muslim woman in San Francisco. um how did, let's just talk about first religion. How did it help? And since we talked about, the spirituality and the tawakkul part, and I really want you to highlight that. And also just in general, like, belonging to this minority, how did you take up this challenge and, had the mindset that I'm gonna rule it? Like, I don't care if there are men out there.
Yeah. No, I think I actually really take pride in being brown Muslim, uh, Pakistani women, all of it. Because I personally believe that if religion works for you, it's the best thing that can happen to you. So I really feel blessed on that side. So because we believe as Muslim that Allah is the best planner. So you have having that belief that you have the best planner on your path. I think that's such a relief. And like, we talk about the downs, that you don't know what happens during your starter journey, but if you have a belief that you're putting in the work, because if you talk from the religion side too, that uh that's what we are told to, that we do hard work. Nowhere in the religion is like, okay, just stay in your prayer mat the whole time and do nothing. You're asked to put in the work. So if you're putting in the work, and then you just leave everything to Allah, I think that's such a relief. And I think if religion works for you, it's the best thing that can happen to you. And because sometimes when I think about it, when I meet other people, and I feel like it's extra hard for them, because not having that belief that everything is going to work out, I think it makes things harder. Yeah. So I would definitely, I think, personally, in my journey too, it has really helped me in having that belief, and just thinking that, okay, I'm going to put in the work, and I'm going to believe in Allah that it's going to work. And if it's not working, there's a reason for that, right? So I think these are the really basics, of our religion, that really helps you to stay positive, and you just put in the work.
Yeah, and again, it's really great, practicing spirituality and just putting your trust in God. Really, even if you're not a religious person, it does not mean that you won't have anything to put trust in. Like, whatever works for you. But as Muslims, I feel like it's such a beautiful thing that you know in our religion, we're taught that if something doesn't work for you, there's something better that's waiting for you. And having that kind of tawakkul, having that kind of belief in God, it really helps you. So really, and I feel like it's relevant to our topic today, because we're talking about starting up something, starting up your career, your product, your company, and then going to a place like Silicon Valley where there's so much competition, and having that mindset, even not just from the business side, just having this mindset that I'm gonna make it, and I trust God in that. I feel like that really just kind of like it just takes off a lot of burden from your shoulders that you're like carrying and thinking about it. All right, let's talk about since we talked a lot about tech and women in tech, let's talk about your athletic journey. So we talked about FitX at the beginning, but I feel like we kind of need that background story, we need that tea, like how did you come up with it, like what's your fitness journey? I would really love to know about it.
Yeah, sure. So even when I was in Pakistan, I was obsessed with it, but it's not very straightforward. It was my journey in Pakistan was not very straightforward. Okay, is someone there to drop me off at that time? Okay, is it like past 10 p.m.? I can't go. But yeah, there was you know how it is in Pakistan. So, but I've always been like, okay, and this is literally something I used to wish. I wish there was something on magically on my phone that I can do it. At the time there was no AI AI buzz there, but yeah, I always used to feel like, why is it so hard and not as accessible? Yeah, that was definitely my frustration. But yeah, I still used to lift weights and do gymnastics. And but when I moved here, I was like, okay, time to do all the sports. And I started, so when I was in school here, I I I used to play rugby. And then after I graduated, I feel like right now I'm a Muay Thai fighter, and I really love that. I compete in that too. And yeah, lift on the side too, because that's what we have on our app too. And I realized that, okay, that's how we sell it to athletes too, that whichever sports you are playing, you gotta strength train. And that's how we sell it for the FitX part too, that okay, whichever, if you are doing, like for example, even if you're running or doing whatever, these are the workouts you can do for strength. So yeah, and even like building in fitness space, I talk to all the people also in the similar space. So it's I love that because I'm super interested in this space. And that's what I work from 7 to 7 here, and then after that I'm in the gym. And yeah, I just love it. And that's how I ended up in it. I knew that I was going to just build something in it and just make it easier for other people who are trying to pursue their fitness journey.
And it's so interesting, just having this realization, or just spotting this gap, out there. So like, if you don't feel comfortable, or it's not accessible, and then you just think about it, you're passionate about it, so you're passionate about working out and strengthening your body, and then here you are, and just really making sure that you make it reality. So you're really out there solving not only your problem, but also like for a lot of us women. And so even though so the world has progressed, and in a few years we've seen, we're working that this whole industry or health industry is also working in providing women these facilities. But then there are single moms out there, they can't really leave their children. There are
Yes.
a lot of women who can't really access it. They have their own family pressures and everything. It's something that prevails, and I feel like for a society like Pakistan, we can really just use it. And I'm
Yeah.
really glad, so a woman out there is really just recognizing it, and just really, and so you're also passionate about fitness in general, so it really just makes you the perfect fit for it. Again, it's been such a productive conversation, Hafsa, and I'm so glad that we were able to have it. If you have to give some few words out there to women, and also like people in general, about how to make it really, how to not get intimidated, and how to just make sure that these are the tips, and you're going to kickstart your journey, what would they would be like, what would be the tips or your general advice?
I would say, um, first of all, especially if you have audience from Pakistan, make yourself uncomfortable, because I feel like it's very common. I used to be like that too. It's very easy to get sucked into the comfort zone. And I feel like here it's opposite, that you get sucked into the uncomfortable zone, because I feel like that's what you really get the value out of it, and that's how you really grow. So I would say, yeah, just make yourself uncomfortable. Literally for the whole year in the startup, I plan ahead that, okay, what are the things that I'm going to do that I have never done before? And okay, and then I have levels that every day I'm going to do something that makes me uncomfortable, but in general too, I'm going to do something really big that I have never done before. So I think that definitely really helps, and that's what I would advise other people to. And just work hard, right? And I think there's no easy way to it, and there are no shortcuts. And I would really also emphasize on that, just there's a time for everything. Even when it took me years to come here, and I'm still not where I really want to be. It takes time. So just be patient with the progress. And then, for example, if you want to be at a certain stage and you have to do something on the way that you hate, just do it. um, just have that goal that, okay, eventually this is what I'm going to achieve. So I think that's also really important, to have that patience. And just and then what we discussed, just also your mindset. You gotta have that mindset that, okay, you're gonna make it, you're gonna win, and then whatever comes in your way, it's okay. Your why needs to be really strong. That why are you stepping into the startup journey, like I was discussing with you before, that I know for some people it works and some people it doesn't. If it doesn't work for you, it's okay, you can go the other route. But if you want to go that route, what's your why? Because that will get you up in the morning, and that will get you through all the hard times as well. That why are you doing this, and why do you want to do this? Yeah, so I would say that just having that plan, that mindset, and just keep going, and you're gonna make it.
Yeah, one conversation that we have a lot here at Dancing is defining your why, and so it's really really it's really important, and you pointed it out, so it was perfect. Then again, like just figure out what is your why, and then just go into it, put in the work. Like it does not matter how hard it gets, you have to do it because you are striving for something that is, you don't get easily. So really just put yourself out there. And also, there's something exciting that we talked about. So we talked about, last week we were talking about it. So Hafsa, after this live, we will have this special announcement that you would be giving free consultation to two startups, right? So can you just please elaborate on that, and how people are going to be selected and everything? That would be perfect.
Oh yes, sorry, I totally forgot about that. But yeah, I we should definitely do that. And then I was thinking about it. Probably you and me, Soha, can work on it, and we'll send the post out. And would definitely probably write down your ideas, or I'll make you guys do squats. And you're definitely not getting it for free because I feel like then people tend to take it for granted. But yeah, I'm excited about that. Let's definitely do it. So I'll work with you after the call. We'll send out the post, and yeah, I'm excited to pick couple of you guys who's working on a startup, or just even thinking about it. So I would love to help, and I would love to connect with you people here, and I'll try to I'll try to change your life. I know it's very sounds aspirational, but I'll try to do whatever I can.
Yeah, it's perfect. We're gonna work on that. You guys are soon going
Yeah.
to have a post out there, and Hafsa is going to help you guys. This was a glimpse of some things that you would get, and so it's going to be perfect for somebody that really, really needs it. And so that concludes our live session. It's almost been an hour, and really, really, I could not figure out how did the time pass, because it was such productive conversation, and it's something that I'm so passionate about. And then you being out there. So thank you so much, Hafsa. Thank you so much for your time. It's really early there at San Francisco, so really, I really appreciate you for waking up early and doing this with us. So yeah, I'm gonna meet my LinkedIn family next week with a new guest, and the announcement is going to be out there. So thank you so much for everybody who joined, everybody who asked questions. I hope it helps you guys, and it answers a lot of your queries. Thank you so much, Hafsa. Good
Yeah,
night, goodbye to everybody in Pakistan, and good morning to
thank
San
you.
Francisco.
Yeah, thank you, Soha. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed having conversation with you too. So yeah, and we'll stay in touch after this.